All right, let's just jump right in, shall we? Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're breaking down something that absolutely fascinated me in our source material. We're looking at the actual nuts and bolts mechanics of wealth. And here is the secret right out of the gate. Building serious wealth is rarely about landing that one single massive paycheck. It's actually built quietly day by day. So today, we're unpacking the 5 money habits of rich people that anyone, and yeah, even those of us who kind of cringe when we check our bank apps, can start copying literally today. So, I've got to ask, have you ever wondered what rich people actually do differently with their money behind closed doors? When you strip away the flashy cars and the crazy luxury vacations, what are the actual gears turning in the background of their financial lives? Well, it turns out what they do is remarkably different from the average person. But honestly, it's not nearly as complicated as you might think. See, we have this pervasive myth in our culture that wealth is just blind luck. Winning the lottery or just securing this astronomical salary. But the data shows us something entirely different. True, lasting wealth is actually a product of simple, powerful daily habits. And the best part is, you really don't need to be wealthy already to start using them. Okay, Section 1, Protecting Your Money, the Defensive Strategy. Now, this first habit completely flips traditional financial advice right on its head, and it's this: pay yourself first. Most people, they get their paycheck, they pay their bills, buy their groceries, and then if there's a tiny little sliver of money left at the end of the month, they try to save it. But the wealthy do the exact opposite. Before a single bill is paid, they automatically move money into their savings and investments. They literally treat their future self like the absolute most important bill they have to pay. Which leads us straight into habit number 2, which is a silent wealth killer. Beware of lifestyle creep. Lifestyle creep is that very, very natural human tendency where, as your income grows, your spending magically grows right along with it. You know how it is? You get a raise, so suddenly you absolutely need the car with the heated steering wheel. But the wealthy? They live below their means. Even when their income absolutely skyrockets, they deliberately keep their spending reasonable. Because here's the thing, when you actively fight lifestyle creep, your income goes up, but your spending stays relatively flat. And that physical space between what you earn and what you spend, that is called the wealth gap. That gap is the actual engine of wealth. The wider you can make that gap, the faster you become rich. It's as simple as that. All right, moving on to Section 2, Growing Your Wealth, the offensive strategy. Habit number 3 is perfectly summarized by this quote from our source material. Consistency beats timing every single time. When it comes to investing, amateur investors are always trying to guess what the stock market is going to do tomorrow, right? They try to buy at the absolute bottom and sell at the exact peak. But the wealthy, they don't waste their time trying to time the market. They invest consistently, steadily, no matter what the market happens to be doing on any given Tuesday. And they are putting that consistent money into very specific vehicles. We're talking index funds, real estate, and businesses. And notice what isn't on this list. They absolutely aren't treating the stock market like a casino. By consistently funding these specific wealth vehicles month after month, they just step back and let compound interest do all the heavy lifting for them. Now, moving on to habit number 4, we have a fundamental rule of business that applies perfectly to your personal finances. You can't improve what you don't measure. Rich people track their money obsessively. They don't just, guess at their financial health, they demand measurement, because measurement is an absolute prerequisite for management. If you don't know exactly where your dollars are going, you simply cannot command them to work for you. So here's exactly what they're measuring. They regularly review these core metrics: their overall net worth, their monthly budget, and the performance of their investments. Now, I know that might sound a bit tedious at first, but knowing your exact numbers, it gives you immense power. It completely removes financial anxiety and replaces it with clarity. When you track these metrics, you always know exactly where your money is going, and you can course correct long before a tiny little leak becomes a sunken ship. Let's hit Section 3, Accelerating Your Income, Multiplying Resources. Habit number 5 is where the real acceleration happens: growing income versus cutting expenses. Now, while controlling your spending is totally critical, the wealthy understand this fundamental mathematical truth. You can only cut your expenses down to 0. There is a floor. But your ability to grow your income, that literally has no ceiling. So whether it's through side hustles, negotiating raises, or starting businesses, growing your income is infinitely more powerful than just penny pinching. And that brings us to a fantastic bonus habit highlighted in our sources: curating your environment. The wealthy strategically surround themselves with people who are, quite frankly, smarter with money than they are. They actively seek out mentors to learn from. And just as importantly, they fiercely avoid negative financial influences. Think about it.
If you hang around 5 people who blow their paychecks every single weekend, you're going to be the sixth. But if you hang around 5 people discussing index funds and real estate, you're going to be the sixth. Your environment absolutely dictates your financial norms.
Finally, Section 4, the Wealth Challenge, taking action today. I really want to cement this whole explainer with a final quote from our sources that completely shifted my perspective. You don't need to be rich to use these habits, but using them is how you become rich. Wealth is not a prerequisite for smart money management. It's the ultimate result of it. The habits have to come first, and the money follows. So, here is my challenge to you. As we wrap things up today, which of these 5 habits are you going to start first? Seriously, pick just one right now. Are you going to set up an automated transfer to pay yourself first? Will you finally track your net worth this evening? Pick one single habit, implement it immediately, and take that first decisive step toward mastering the mechanics of wealth.